Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Hello.
How are you guys today? Hopefully well.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the middle of April. It's
yeah,
the
the
16th of
16th.
April. I can't believe
Can't
that.
believe it. Yeah, it's really in the middle of the month.
Yeah,
Um,
can't believe
yeah,
it.
it's a beautiful sunny day as well. Beautiful spring day outside.
It's gorgeous.
Um, beautiful sky, beautiful trees.
Hmm.
If you're joining us, please tell us after the quarantine, which restaurant will you go to? Spelling mistake there. Which restaurant will you go to? And obviously introduce yourself, your name, and where you're from. Hal, do you want to start with an introduction?
Yeah, my name is Hal, and I am from London, near to London in the UK. I'm 26. I've been in Bologna since September last year. Yeah, and I'm in Bologna today. I live close to the center.
Mm.
So, and actually, I live near to a big road, so
Mm.
it's actually not busy, obviously, but there are cars
There's
coming
some
and going.
traffic.
Yeah,
Mm.
which is kind of nice because it feels kind of normal. I'm not
Yeah,
living in. It's not completely silent.
silent.
There's always
Yeah.
traffic. And yeah, and after the quarantine, I will go. Hmm. I don't know. I would like to go to lots of places. Maybe the one that comes to mind is Da Michele, which is a pizza place.
Michele. Okay. So you go for pizza.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
idea. Welcome to Marta. Hi,
Hi,
everyone.
Marta.
Hi
Hello, good
from
morning.
Milan. And Marta, maybe you can tell us which restaurant will you go to after the quarantine? So my name is Emily. I work with Hal here in Bologna. I also live in Bologna. I've been here for about 3.5 years now here in Bologna. 4 years in September, so quite a long time. I come from Leicester in the UK. And I think after the quarantine, I would like to go to a Chinese restaurant.
Mm,
Not necessarily one in particular, but I would really like to go and eat some Chinese foods.
yeah.
Um, I think at home we cook quite a lot of Italian food, so it would be nice to do something different again. Yeah, so definitely, I think Chinese food, maybe kind of Indian food too. Something,
I was just thinking a curry.
yeah,
Go to a
a
curry
nice
house.
curry. Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't know of a good curry house in Bologna, but
I've been to one near
hmm,
here, but it was good. It was good. It
hmm,
wasn't incredible, but I see before I lived here. I know you know this, but I lived in Manchester, which has some of the best curry places, probably
hmm.
outside India, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
no, the same in Leicester.
Amazing. Yeah.
Um,
In fact, in the UK, I always say to people, especially to like when I was teaching there to students visiting, who would be like, oh, fish and chips or English breakfast, I would usually say, do you know, pretty much any town or city in the UK, the best restaurant and the best value for money as well is likely to be the best curry house in the town. Like find a curry house that's good
yeah, it's
and it will
actually
be
very
great.
British. Yeah.
Yeah,
I read somewhere that it's the UK's favorite national dish. It's
great,
more
exactly.
popular than fish and chips or anything else.
Yeah,
So yeah,
doesn't surprise
unexpectedly.
me.
Okay, Martha says, after the quarantine, I desire to go to a sushi restaurant in Milan. Popo Royale, I think, is the best Japanese in Milan.
Nice. I
Nice. So
wonder if maybe places like this will have long, you'll have to book because so many
yeah.
people. I mean, Marta, I think you should go. Absolutely.
Mm.
Don't make your dream. You should do it. But I would imagine that loads of people are thinking, I really, really want to go to Paparoya.
Mm.
And then there'll be a waiting
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, you might have
Probably.
to book early. They might not have so
Yeah,
many tables as well.
exactly. Yeah,
Because of the distance they have to
yeah.
keep. So yeah, but it's good
But it will
to
happen.
to think about it.
Definitely.
Definitely. Martha said, I desire to go. This is fine. This is okay, but it sounds a little bit unnatural in English. Desire is quite strong. When I talk about a restaurant, maybe I just say I'd like to go, or I'd love to go. I'd really like to go.
Yeah.
So grammatically it's okay, but it sounds a little strange to us.
Definitely.
Desire would be something really strong. But I guess after the quarantine, it's quite strong. So,
It is a desire. Yeah.
this is an exception maybe to the rule. Excellent. Perfect. If anyone else is watching us, please do introduce yourself and tell us after the quarantine, which restaurant will you go to? Okay, and in the meantime, let's start the focus. Hal, do you want to read for us?
Sure, a restaurant review. So in this focus activity, reviewing restaurants, recommendation phrases, hard versus hardly, if we have time, we'll look at that, right? And restaurant review vocabulary.
Excellent. Just a very quick pronunciation thing. Notice that in English we say restaurant. We don't really pronounce the middle of the word restaurant.
Right. Restaurant. Just ignore
Restaurant.
the AU. Restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really common in English. So, for example, chocolate, we write with an O, but we pronounce chocolate. Restaurant. So often in English, we don't pronounce the whole word. And this is an example. Okay, here we have some questions about eating out. And it looks like curry. I don't know if that's
I think
curry
you're
or
right.
some Indian dishes, maybe.
Yeah.
So, question number 1. Do you eat out often? Question number 2. Do you remember an experience that was unusually good or bad? Number 3. Have you ever read or written a restaurant review? And number 4. Are they helpful or not? And why? Okay, so let's start with question number 1. Do you guys eat out often? Hal, what about you? Usually.
Usually, when we say, because I sometimes am confused with this. When we say eat out, we usually mean sit in a restaurant, right? Not just take out, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I get food maybe for lunch or for dinner, like every other day out. I don't eat out in a restaurant, obviously.
Yeah.
That's much
Eat out is more like for fun, to relax,
Yeah,
to sit in
yeah,
a
yeah.
restaurant.
Right.
Yeah.
Not the way. So I probably eat out here not very often so far, and obviously at the moment not. So maybe once every 3 weeks.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
I think the same thing for me, maybe once a month,
Yeah.
more or less. But again, I think it depends on the period of the year. So in the
Yeah, okay.
winter, I would eat out less than in the
Sure.
summer.
Interesting. Because you want to be kind of curled up at home.
Yeah.
Not
If I have to
wandering
leave
around.
the house and it's
Yeah, yeah,
cold,
yeah.
maybe I think twice.
Yeah. And for me, because I'm new here, I don't mind eating in a restaurant on my own, in fact, but it's more like a social occasion for me. So I would rather, so I've done it here when people have visited, maybe like once a month, with friends and stuff.
Yeah, it's something nice to do as a group. If you're on your own, maybe you feel more like taking food away or cooking yourself. Wow, we have Tatiana from Mayas Leon.
Hey,
Welcome from Leon, from France. Nice.
Hi.
After the quarantine, my friends and I will go to a very special place called La Commune.
Lovely.
Yeah. It's a loft restaurant. Nice. Sorry. No, go.
Which unites many different little restaurants and different cuisines from all over the world. Lovely.
Excellent.
We probably wouldn't, it's unite again, it's a bit like desire, like we said.
Yeah.
Unite here, I understand, it's fine. It sounds a bit unnatural just because it sounds quite formal, doesn't it? To unite something. probably say which brings together, or a fusion.
It's a
Nice.
fusion, or it brings together. Yeah.
But yeah, fusion cuisine is exactly that, isn't it? It's when we mix food together.
Yeah, I remember in Leicester there was a restaurant called Fusion, and it was a fusion of different cultures, different foods. So yeah, really interesting. Marta, if you're still out there, tell us how often you go to the restaurant, and also Tatiana, how often do you go out to eat? Usually, obviously, not in this period.
Yeah, not at the moment. And do you remember an experience that was unusually good or bad? I love this story.
I think this is really a matter of perspective.
Okay.
So I personally, I find some of the restaurants here in Italy very noisy. When I go out, I prefer to obviously talk with friends. Whereas I think, especially in Italy, maybe the osteria are places that are really busy, full of people, really noisy. So you don't really feel like you can chat easily with your friends because there's so much noise. And maybe you have to go in and go out quite quickly because usually there's a queue of people waiting. So you kind of eat and you go. So I wouldn't say it's a bad experience. It's a different experience. But yeah, perhaps it's something that I personally don't like when I'm going out.
Okay.
To go to a place that's really crowded,
really busy. You're almost part of the kind of, you just become part of the crazy energy in the restaurant, right? But it's not like you're having a laid back dinner to yourself with your friends. Yeah,
definitely. I think it's exciting the first couple of times, but after that, maybe it gets a little bit annoying with all that noise, I think. Yeah. What about you? Do you have any experiences?
I was going to say no because I don't really, I'm not that picky with restaurants with food. I'm more worried about the price usually, I have to say. But that made me think of, I was in Florence with my mum and her friend just before quarantine, and we went to an osteria, and it was it was so strange. It was obviously kind of family run. There were small things like some ventilator went in the kitchen, so they had to open the door to the restaurant.
To get
So there was this wind coming through, and this was in like late February, so it was quite cold. And then the owner got out a French horn that he had and started playing tunes from Star Wars with this horn. And he had like a laptop, and he would play like the orchestra bit and then play the French horn solos. And he did this like 3 times. He'd sort of do one solo and then pause, and we'd all kind of like clap. There weren't many people there. It was very small. And you had to kind of listen to him. It was horribly awkward because you couldn't kind of carry on talking. Everyone had to like turn and watch do this performance. And he did it again and again. And yeah, it was very strange. But it wasn't bad. It was memorable.
Funny.
Funny,
Marta says, I usually eat out once a week. Okay, quite often. Nice. And Marta, can you tell us, do you have a good or a bad experience in a restaurant? A particularly good or particularly bad experience? Let's think of a particularly good one. Maybe I went to a restaurant in Verona. I can't remember the name now, but it was kind of under the ground. So you had to go down some steps, and it was very dark, very rustic, very traditional. And they served very, very traditional dishes from Verona, from the area. I remember eating polenta and also donkey. I think they served donkey, which I wouldn't eat every day, but as it was there, we tried it, and it was an interesting texture. So that was a good restaurant because it was very traditional, but it wasn't noisy. I remember it being quite calm.
I usually eat out very often because I'm gourmand and I like discovering the different cuisines and tastes. Gourmand. What would we say in English? Probably Because we can
Yes,
say like I like gourmet food, right? But I don't think we really describe a person
and as
that
gourmet. I'm
often.
looking at the translation. It seems like it's similar to greedy. Someone who
Oh,
loves food. So maybe it's like a little bit of a false friend in English.
okay.
So someone who really loves eating, can't stop.
Yeah. But
Greedy.
if Tatiana, you just mean that you like kind of, yeah, different cuisines, you might say because I like fine dining, because I like gourmet food. You can talk about gourmet food that is, in my mind, just food that is very fancy. But I
Yeah,
think it's more specific than that. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so maybe in English I would say I'm greedy or I love food.
Hmm.
Trying to think of another way that we could say it. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about food.
Passionate about food. That's what people say. That's it.
Yeah. So obviously, yeah, Tatiana, you're in Lyon in France. So gourmand would be French. Okay. Um, so yeah, we could just say I
Sorry.
passionate.
Yeah.
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 Any other ideas?
Passionate. Perfect.
Passionate.
No, passionate about food, I think, is the nicest way.
I'm passionate about food. You could also say I'm a foodaholic.
Yeah. Sometimes people say I'm a foodie. A foodie. Have you heard that?
Yeah, yeah.
Foodie.
I'm a foodie.
Um,
Someone who loves food.
has an interest in food. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, so maybe we would say foodie, foodaholic. I'm passionate about food. I guess greedy would be more negative. Like,
Yeah.
you can't stop.
And it's not really to do with the quality of the food, is it? It's more
It's
just
the
I want
quantity.
quantity. I just want more food.
If I eat a
Exactly.
whole packet of biscuits, I'm greedy.
Keen. I'm keen. There we go,
I'm
Tatiana.
keen on
Lovely. I'm
food.
keen.
Yeah, I'm keen on food and eating. Good. Marta says, I've never had a terrible experience, but a wonderful experience in an alpine refuge in Trentino 4 years
Oh,
ago.
gosh,
Nice.
that sounds nice.
Tell us why. Why was it
Yeah, why?
wonderful?
What was special about the place?
Yeah. And also, Tatiana,
I
tell us a good experience or a bad experience.
My good experience, I'm thinking of there's a place in central Manchester which I miss so much. I can't tell you. It's called Katsouris. I think it's technically a Greek place,
Okay.
but it's kind of does a bit of everything. That's how I would put
Fusion.
it. It does a bit of everything, yeah. But it's very kind of old school. So it's very traditional. It's only open at lunch for like
Ah,
5 hours. It gets absolutely filled with loads of office workers and people in the centre of Manchester in that time. And they have a big carvery where and kind of hot, like a almost like a canteen style place where they kind of serve different dishes that they've done up. Yeah, exactly. Hot plates, perfect. That are ready to go. And honestly, the atmosphere in that place is amazing. It feels incredibly like lively and it's also incredibly cheap. And you get the huge portions, which I'm a fan of. And I just miss it. It's very, very special. It feels kind of like old fashioned, like traditional in some way, like a canteen in the middle of the town that just serves kind of big, hearty meals.
Yeah, that's a really good word. Hearty meals.
Hearty meals, yeah.
What is a hearty meal?
So it's food that is kind of warm and it makes you feel kind of warm and comforting in a way, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like your grandparents maybe would
right.
serve
Would serve you a hearty meal.
homely meals.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, yeah, that's my shout out to Katsouris
Nice.
in Manchester, which is if you're ever in Manchester, go.
Excellent.
So good.
Okay, what about number 3? Have you ever read or written a restaurant review? Okay. In the meantime, Marta has responded. It was so romantic. Good. I would say the location was so romantic. So I put the object first. The location was so romantic, and the menu was particular. I ate special dishes and great wines.
Mhm.
Nice. So yeah, just remember in English we always put the subject first. The location was so romantic. And in this situation, you don't need the it because the subject is the location. Excellent. Hal, what do you think about the word particular? Because I know that a lot of people use the word particular, but it sounds a little strange, I think,
Yes.
in English.
In English, if I say a particular menu, oof, no, it doesn't. It doesn't really have much of a meaning. It makes me maybe think of it's very exact in some way, or it's a very specific menu. Like it has very specific qualities. But actually, maybe here we mean an unusual menu or a special menu, or yeah, probably those two. If
Yeah,
you say, oh,
maybe
the menu
unique.
is very unique, yeah, the menu is very unique. It's very special. There aren't other menus like it, right?
Yeah, perfect. So we can understand particular, but it doesn't sound very natural to us. Particular, yeah, is a slightly different meaning. Like in particular, it's like especially this.
Right.
But yeah, in this case, unique, unusual, or special. So Hal, what about you? Have you ever read or written a restaurant review?
I've never written a restaurant review.
Ever?
No, although I once, when I was a student, a friend of mine wrote reviews for the student paper, and he got to go to restaurants free. And I once went with him to
Wow.
a restaurant and it was really nice, but quite strange because you were even though he was just a student newspaper guy, you got served in a very weird way. Like they were very attentive, and it felt really strange. I love reading restaurant reviews. So on Sunday in the Observer, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure because I
Okay.
know that it's a bit of a strange thing. But on Sundays, Jay Rayner writes a column in the Observer in the UK, which is a restaurant review, and I love them. It's such a nice thing
Wow.
to do on
Why?
Sunday
Why do you like
because they're
reading?
just well, first of all, they're often very funny. And I think it's something to do with the fact that because I read them even though I know that I will hardly ever, I've only once gone to a place because I read one of his reviews, because usually I can't afford them.
They're
So
pretty
that's kind of,
expensive.
I can't afford them, or they're just, they're kind of exclusive in some way. I think I just enjoy the glimpse. Either it's a nice look into a very fascinating world, where he's sort of describing just excellence, like it's really worked, or the really entertaining ones are when he's describing a disaster, and you
Yeah,
think, oh well, even though they spent all this money or it's really expensive, it doesn't mean that it's a good restaurant, and that's quite
yeah,
amusing.
definitely. Something went
Schadenfreude.
really wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I
think I'm
like
the
that.
opposite. I write reviews, but I don't necessarily read them very much.
Oh, nice. Where would
Before,
you put them?
maybe on TripAdvisor, something like that.
Okay.
Um, I know sometimes after you go to the restaurant, you get a little message from them saying,
Hmm.
please review our restaurant, especially if you booked online.
Right.
But I try to leave good reviews. I try not to leave bad
Okay.
reviews.
Okay.
Um, so I try to be positive
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, negative only if it's really, really bad. Just
Exactly. Or
to
in the
help
case
you.
of Jay Rayner, it's like he's punching up, as we say. So he only ever writes bad reviews of extremely expensive, luxurious places.
Yeah, where he would
Sometimes
expect more.
he would expect more, exactly. And then sometimes he'll write a really nice review of a smaller hidden gem, like an unknown
Yeah,
place.
this
Um,
piece of vocabulary. Yeah, hidden gem. Nice. Oh, we have some responses. Excellent.
hey,
Tatiana says, I remember my latest experience before the quarantine. I've been to a chocolate bar. Nice. Called Ikone. It was amazing. I ordered a chocolate fondue.
Wow.
Excellent.
Chocolate bar. Wow.
Yeah, Leon is sounding really nice. We should.
Yeah, it
should
is. We should all move to Leon. And Martha says, I have written a lot of restaurant reviews on TripAdvisor, okay, and I use of when I need to choose a new place. It gives me an idea of the menu, prices, location, based on the opinion of other customers. Great.
Yeah.
Just be careful. We need to say, I use it. No, I use
Yeah.
it, TripAdvisor, when I need to. Good.
Yeah, perfect. Excellent. Shall we move on to some
Sure
vocabulary?
thing. Yeah.
We have a lot of vocabulary to cover today. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, so the first one you mentioned
I did.
before, hidden gem. Okay, do you want to explain to us, Hal, what is a hidden gem?
So, 2 words, right? Hidden means it's somewhere almost secret. It's difficult to find. It's almost a secret.
Martha said it was an error. Okay.
No problem, Martha. Don't worry at all.
I know
Errors
it's
are good
difficult
anyway.
to type right now.
Errors are good anyway. So hidden, secret, kind of difficult to find, and a gem is like a precious stone, no? So we use this phrase, this collocation, with places, usually in a city, but not always, that are hidden because they are not that well known. People don't know where they are, they don't know about them. And they are gems because they are really wonderful, really special, really beautiful, maybe. So a hidden gem. There's actually, for example, a church in Manchester which is just referred to as the hidden gem.
Really?
Because it's like the oldest Catholic church, I think, in the city centre, and it's really tucked away. So it's like down a little alley, through a little gate, and it's difficult to find, and it's just called the hidden gem. I can't even remember the name of the church because people just call it that.
I guess it's like somewhere that the local people know. Maybe if you're a tourist, you wouldn't really know where to go.
Although these days, probably if you look in a guidebook, right, they'll probably have a section that's called like the hidden gem, and you're like, but these can't be hidden gems if they are here. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously, hidden gem, as we can see, is positive. Let's talk about pokey. Let's ask these guys, do you know what pokey means?
Pokey.
We have pokey, little known, pales in comparison, highlight of the menu. It's not all it's cracked up to be, overpriced, worth a try, to die for, and stop. So can you guys tell us, what does pokey mean? Or if you don't know exactly, do you think it's positive, neutral, or negative?
I think on the slides here, I can't remember, but I think it has it says that it's one of these 3, and I'm not sure I agree. Yeah. Okay.
I think probably we have the same idea. So often a hidden gem could be pokey, I guess. Maybe we wouldn't use this term. We would use a different term.
Right. And in some, I'm trying not to give the meaning away. In some contexts, I quite like a pokey pub, for example. If it's not too busy, then a pokey pub or a pokey bar can be quite nice.
I feel like in the UK, especially in the villages, the bars and the pubs tend to be quite pokey.
Absolutely.
In comparison to here, where I find them much bigger. And
also often lit quite strongly, I find. I don't know why. Someone pointed this out to me, and then I was like, "That's so right. It's true. Yeah, a lot of bars and restaurants in Italy are lit much brighter than at least than bars in the UK. I feel are often a bit dimmer.
Pubs,
British people don't want to be seen so much. They're just like, turn out the lights.
Hide into the background. Does anyone know, Marta or Tatiana? Any ideas? What does pokey mean?
Pokey. Oh, yeah.
Really good. Yeah, Martha, perfect. Narrow or really small. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah. How would you say this is positive, neutral, or negative?
I would say usually it's negative. I think here it says neutral, but I
Yeah,
disagree. I
I would
disagree with
agree
you.
with Hal.
Especially if I'm talking about a restaurant, if I say, oh, it was a bit pokey, I mean it was small and narrow, but too small and narrow. Like there
Yeah,
wasn't enough space.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable, exactly.
Yeah, I would agree with Hal. I would say it's definitely not positive.
No.
More often it's used negatively.
Yeah.
It's more negative than positive. Definitely. What about little known? Can you guys tell us what is the meaning of little known?
I think, for example, cozy would be a nice, yeah, great, not very well known, lovely. Um, Cozy would be a nice synonym almost of pokey in certain contexts. Like it means kind of it's quite small, but it's definitely positive. If I say I went to it was a lovely cozy restaurant or a lovely cozy pub, it means there wasn't much space, but it felt very comfortable, very like home almost, very
Yeah,
calm. Yeah,
warm and friendly.
yeah.
Yeah, so I
But
would
small.
agree. Yeah. The positive version of pokey would be cozy. In English, we spell it, in British English, we spell it with an S. In American English, with a Z, but it means the
Crazy.
same thing. What about the next one? It pales in comparison. Any ideas? Positive, negative, neutral? What does it mean? Maybe we should talk about the meaning of pale.
Mm-hmm.
The meaning of pale. So I'm quite pale, generally. It means that you are very white.
I am like crazy because I don't go out much now and I'm standing at a window. So I look incredibly pale, very, very pale.
Yeah, sometimes it depends on the lighting too, I guess.
Sure, yeah, thank you.
The background.
um,
Yeah,
but
very
yeah, white,
white, no color.
exactly.
Yeah, so staying at home is not great because it means we're going to become paler,
Very pale.
but it pales in comparison. So let me give an example. This restaurant pales in comparison with the competition. See, very generic example. Pales in comparison with the competition.
Mm,
Not interesting, exactly. I would say it's more something like it's not as good as,
exactly.
but quite extreme. So it's really not as good as the others.
Right.
So this restaurant is not as good as the competition. It's worse, much worse.
The idea is that in comparison, it looks like pale, which is weak, faint, indistinct, right? Irrelevant. So it's a bit strange.
So yeah, this would be negative. It's not as good as. Okay, what about highlight of the menu? It's a highlight. I always think of the pens here. Like when I was at school, I used to love
Yeah,
highlighting things.
yeah. I do that all the time as well, especially when you think of a menu. Yeah,
I want this one and this one.
yeah. What's
Um,
the highlight of the menu of your favorite place? You
ooh,
think?
I think the highlight of, I'll talk about a Chinese restaurant I went to. Yeah. It wasn't actually on the menu, it was off the menu.
Ooh,
So it was Chinese New
oh,
Year, and they made some, I think it was a meat dish, so with beef, cooked for a long time. So it was
wow.
really soft. So yeah, that was the highlight, not of the menu, but of the meal.
Of the menu, of the meal, yeah. Exactly, guys. Perfect.
Yeah, the best dish, the special dish. So yeah, is positive. Not all it's cracked up to be. What does this mean? And is it positive or negative? I'm trying to think of an example.
Hmm. I can't think. I was about to say living in London is not all it's cracked up to be.
I was just writing that actually, visiting London.
Really?
But,
No,
living
I
in
was
London
going to
is
say
better.
living. Yeah. Living in London.
Living in London is not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, I would agree. I have some friends who live in London and
Yeah.
it's difficult sometimes.
Yeah,
Like in
exactly.
Rome. Rome is beautiful.
Right.
But I lived in Rome for a few months and it's definitely not all it's cracked up to be.
Sure. Although I feel as if it's interesting because I don't know if it's just because of my proximity to the culture, but people talk about Rome here with the expectation that it can be quite difficult.
Yeah, they're a little bit
I
more.
guess people do more and more in the UK. Yeah, more pessimistic. Whereas in the UK, no, I'm being unfair. In the UK, I think most people are now aware of the fact that living in London isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah,
Maybe not. Like great aunt probably still thinks it's amazing, but
Yeah, I don't know about in France if this is the same situation with
in
Paris.
Paris, yeah.
If people move to Paris and then
It's cracked up to
realize
be.
it's not all it's cracked up to be. I think this is such a common phrase.
It's very useful. People do use it a lot, right? Sometimes we see phrases like this and we're like, what? Come on, I don't need to know that.
Use that,
Yeah, we don't need that. But this one, people do use it a lot.
I would say more maybe out of these ones, hidden gem, highlights, not all it's cracked up to be. These are the more common expressions. Any ideas, anyone? Yeah, kind of, yeah. It's not worth it. Maybe more that it's not as I expected.
Good. It's not as good as people said or people say in general, or as I thought. No, Martha. It's disappointing.
Yeah.
So people say that living in London is an amazing experience, that it's this incredible, beautiful, fun experience. It's not. So we say it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's not all it's made to seem by other people. It's not as good as people say.
Yeah, perfect. So we expect it's going to be amazing. Oh, I'm living in London. I'm living in Paris. I'm living in Rome. But the reality is that maybe life is more difficult. Life is busy. There are lots of people, lots of traffic. It's difficult to travel. Everything's expensive. Yeah. In the end, it's a little bit disappointing.
Exactly. And another thing, guys, to notice is that it's always in the negative. Unless you're being, I don't know, ironic or silly, you don't say it is all it's cracked up to be. No,
just in the negative.
It's in the negative. It's not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, guys, what about the next one? Overpriced. Overpriced. So the living in London tend to be overpriced. Also in Bologna, I think.
In terms of like rent, yeah.
Yeah, I think the rent is overpriced in Bologna.
I have to move in September, and I'm not looking forward to that.
No.
Experience. Yes, good, exactly.
Too expensive, yeah, good. Here we can use the opposite, underpriced. If something we think is too cheap for the value, underpriced. Okay, the next one
is less common as a situation.
Yeah, it's not so common, unfortunately, in life. The next one, worth a try. It's
worth a try.
Or
I think
to
actually
die for,
one of the ones, or the last one as well. I think Marta, you wrote something, but it's not all it's cracked up to be that could work for. It's worth a try.
Yeah, in English again, I think we use "it's worth it" quite a lot. Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Is it worth visiting London in the winter, for example? Yeah, worth is quite common.
It's worth it.
I'm worth it. You're worth it.
Yeah.
Is it the advert, I think, for
Yeah,
L'Oreal?
because you're worth it.
Because you're
Exactly.
worth it. What does it mean? I suggest you try it because I liked it, possibly. Yeah. I think it's really similar to what Marta was saying before. Give it a chance.
Yeah, give it a chance.
Like, why not? Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But yeah, give it a chance. Yeah, I would say it's kind of positive, but it's not very positive. I would say it's kind of like, why not?
Yeah, like if someone says, "Oh, yeah, it's worth a try," they're not going like, "You have to go. It's the best thing." They're saying, "Yeah, why not? Try it. See if you like it. You've got nothing to lose." Lovely.
Yeah, it's the same. If you don't like it, that's okay.
Great.
So yeah, I would say it's slightly positive, but not very positive. Like, why not? And the last one, to die for. For example, the chocolate cake is to die for. What does it mean? To die for. Do you use this expression a lot, Hal?
No, I think I do use it sometimes, but it sounds quite extreme.
Yeah, it's quite strong.
Yeah. So you need to use it wisely.
Not all
Use
the
it
time.
thoughtfully. Exactly. You don't want to cheapen it.
Yeah, it's the best. Yeah, the best experience of something or of some type of food. Yeah. Excellent. It's so good that you could die for it. To die for.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, this is really positive, really extreme. So as Hal said, we don't use it that often.
No, I can think of there's a curry place in Manchester where they do a mango lassi to die for,
Wow.
and that's it.
Yeah. It sounds quite extreme, and maybe it could also sound ironic if you use it in a context like the biscuits are to die for. It kind of sounds ironic.
Exaggerated, definitely.
Excellent. Okay, guys. So maybe we have a couple of minutes left. If you have any questions, please let us know now. If you have any questions about vocabulary or any of the things we've said today. In the meantime, can you tell us, is there a hidden gem in your city where you live? Tell us about any hidden gem. Sorry, is there a hidden gem in your city? Describe it to us. Is it cozy? Is it little known? What's the highlight of the menu? Yeah. So, are there any hidden gems in your city? I'm trying to think about in Bologna. What is a hidden gem?
Yeah, tell me, and then I can go.
Go.
Because I don't know really.
In Bologna, we have a quarter called Bolognina, which is just outside of the city. It's not a very popular place. You don't get tourists or anything there, but it has a very good Chinese restaurant.
Oh.
I think the name is Jasmine, if I'm not mistaken. Jasmine, or maybe Singapore. I can't remember. One of the two. And yeah, it's really good. It's very reasonably priced. It's not overpriced. Yeah, and it's really good. And it's where I ate that special dish the last time.
Yeah, okay.
So, and because it's out of the center, I think it's quieter. It's a nice environment. They have a little garden. So,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's a hidden gem, I think. What about you, Hal? Have you found any hidden gems here in Bologna?
Here in Bologna, hidden gems. You know, on the way to San Luca, there's I can't remember what it's called now, but there's what would we say in English? A pastry shop, a baker's
Yeah, bakery, maybe. Yeah.
bakery, which I think is amazing. There are loads of places along that walk to San Luca, but this one I really like. It's very sort of the staff are really welcoming. The owner's really welcoming. He's from Argentina, I think. He's really friendly, and it's very kind of traditional and no nonsense, like just simple, nothing very fancy.
Simple and
And really cheap. But I mean, it's not a restaurant. They just do sweets, cakes,
nice.
that kind of thing. That's fine by me.
I love that in Italy they have these bakeries that just specialize in sweet things.
I'd love to find in Manchester. There was an amazing hidden gem just outside of Chinatown. Actually, there was a Chinese bakery, which was just incredible. It was a problem for me because it was on my way back from work. So I really had to make sure I didn't just go there every single day because when I found out about it.
Temptation.
And they just did the most amazing stuff. And I haven't yet found, unfortunately, a place in Bologna that's similar, like a Chinese bakery with sweets, with all of the buns and cakes and stuff.
Yeah, no, I miss that definitely. Tatiana says the real hidden gem, it's my place. Wow, never overpriced and always as good and always to die for. Yeah, you don't need the as good. There's always to die for.
Nice.
Excellent.
Tatiana, what do you cook? What kind of cuisine are we talking? What kind of cuisine do you cook?
Yeah. What's your speciality? What's the highlight?
Speciality.
Yeah. I guess it's a good point. We don't necessarily need to go out to eat good food.
This is true.
Now in the quarantine, maybe we're cooking more.
I'm starting to lose faith in my repertoire, my range of available dishes. But it's okay.
I think maybe like when I first came to Italy, I used to really like eating out because I wasn't able to cook the dishes at home.
Sure.
Now I've been here for a few more years and my husband is Italian. We can cook a lot of dishes like carbonara at home. Lasagna. So I think it means that going out is less special for me because I'm more used to the food. It's nothing exciting.
Yeah. Nice.
Like experimentations. Nice.
We would probably just say I like experimenting.
Yeah.
To experiment, the verb, and experimenting in the kitchen.
Yeah, experimenting in the kitchen. Nice. Okay, we have 2 more minutes. Tatiana is still with us. Marta, if you're still with us, tell us about any hidden gems in your city. What about something that's really overpriced? Have you been to a place?
Never, ever get a coffee right around Piazza Maggiore or any of those spots. I mean, it's happened to me once when I came as a visitor last year. I got burnt by that because they can be like €2 or more for if you sit, especially.
Yeah, definitely. Compared to maybe 80 cents or €1.
Yeah, exactly. So those places, and also I guess just I avoid places right in the middle of town, restaurants.
Yeah, touristy places.
Touristy, exactly.
I think for me it's the same, not coffee, but tea. I find that in Italy, if you drink tea outside, it's really overpriced. In England, maybe coffee is more expensive than tea.
Yeah, exactly.
Tea will maybe cost you £1, £1.50, £2. But in Italy, I spend like 4, 5, 6 euros for a cup of tea.
It's so true. Good point.
It's crazy for me. Okay, guys, I'm afraid we're going to have to finish there for this morning. Thank you to Tatiana and to Marta for joining us.
Thank you,
It's really
guys.
good to have you interacting. Have a lovely day. And hopefully we can all go to the restaurant soon.
Soon.
Good luck, guys.
Take
See you.
care.